Hello YouTube, you got me VGH once again with another deck video. Now this is something you may have seen already. One of the bigger PokeTubers on the platform, TrickyGym, created a Brambleghast deck. Now, I was trying to experiment with Brambleghast a little bit beforehand, but I didn't really get to go too far into it. But I really wanted to see the deck actually work, because I thought Brambleghast was such a funny card. Now, those of you who don't know Brambleghast is a very simple Pokemon. It's a 3 energy attack. It needs at least 1 grass energy and 2 colorless energies. It does 80 damage times the amount of coins you flip. Its attack, the effect of the attack is flip a coin for each energy this Pokemon has. For each heads, it does 80 damage. Simple and to the point. It's only got 100 HP, but its ability is that for every prize card your opponent has taken, he gains an extra 50 HP. Seems pretty solid. If your opponent has taken 5 prize cards, the Pokemon gains an extra 250 HP. And now on a single prize Pokemon, 350 HP is kind of a lot. Usually it will survive any attack that goes at it. But we can also just go a step further. We can give it a Hero's Cape, giving it 450 HP, sometimes surviving 2 attacks. On the rare occasion, 3. But it also pairs super well with Forretress EX. You know, that Pokemon that no one played, forgot about, maybe used it for about 30 seconds? Yeah. Basically, you get it on the board. Its ability is take itself out, your opponent takes 2 prizes, but you can take up to 5 grass energies from your deck and place them on your Pokemon any way you like. This sets up Brambleghast very easily, both giving it an extra 100 HP because you're taking out 2 prizes for your opponent, giving it 5 energies so it can flip 5 coins, doing a very high amount of damage off the coin flips, and it also pairs super well with Iono. So you can give your opponent those extra prize cards, hit them with an Iono, set them to 4 on turn 2, and you're able to just spiral out of control. And if your opponent takes a Pokemon, it's usually going to be a single prizer. So what does that do? Gives Brambleghast number 2 50 more HP. Let's get right into the games, show you guys what I mean. Alright guys, so ignore the thing at the top. On my stream, we have a thing going on right now. When I was recording, I didn't even notice I had that up. My bad. Just ignore that. It's if I get 10 subscriptions over on my channel, twitch.tv/videogamehouse, within the month, I'm going to dress up as Youngster Joey, make some Youngster Joey decks, and play a whole bunch for like 8 hours. So that's just something else. Just a quick drop there. Let's get directly into the games. We won our coin flip. We're going up first. And we started our wonderful friend Pineco. As you guys can see, we do have some draw engine here with Dunsparce. The Dunsparce, regular Dunsparce has a free retreat cost, so that's super helpful. And Dunsparce, obviously, when you use its ability, you draw 3 cards and shuffle it back into your deck. Very helpful to keep those weaker Pokemon off the board too, so that way if your opponent tries to take them out, great job, they get 1 more prize, but they also can't just target those instead of the Brambleghast in order to take the final prize to usually win the match. So it is very useful. Our turn 1, we do have a Hero's Cape that we set up on Brambleghast, and our opponent is running Roaring Moon EX. We also did see from that discard a regular Roaring Moon, so we do know that this is the Ancient Box deck. Very strong right now, very fun to play. It's also just has outs to most things, but what I do find a problem with that deck is that it burns through half of its deck on turn 1, and then it just kind of peters out if they run out of cards too quickly and they don't find easy single prize knockouts. Luckily for us, our opponent set up the benched Roaring Moon, assuming that he was going to get a switch out to knock out our Pineco. Nothing too crazy. I was afraid the entire time. A little confused as to why he threw away the Brute Bonnet, but I assume he had something else better in his hand that he wanted to keep. So I just ran with it. I feel like Brute Bonnet would have been good for poison and such, but I mean, hey, you do you. This is one of our first times playing the deck. I think this might be the 2nd game we played with it, so we're still learning the ropes here. I think I had an Ultra Ball there, where we should have gone Ultra Ball, find Forretress, activate ability, then hit the Iono, but I hit Iono first, found Forretress, then drew using Dunsparce, and still didn't find what I was looking for. We went with a Pokemon Stop, kind of hoping we found what we wanted, and didn't. So this game could have gone either way very quickly, right? I left my Forretress in the active because if my opponent was able to knock it out, I would lose, but it's 270 HP, which is not too easy to do because they need 20 ancient cards in their discard pile for their Roaring Moon that's on the bench to knock me out, or they would have to use Frenzied Gouging, which at the moment didn't seem like the best play. I felt like they burned through a lot of their stuff already, so they didn't have too much to work with in terms of trying to set up the Roaring Moon. So I got lucky, but I mean, Forretress is still a tank, and he still hits for big damage. Realistically, he has 2 energy 120, which does one-shot a Roaring Moon EX, so I could have went that route as well, but instead we just decided to go with the Brambleghast route, because that's what the whole deck was for. So as you saw there, my opponent is just trying to set up his board for future plays. He got both of the Roaring Moons set up. He didn't mess with the Roaring Moon EX. I feel like he should have get a second energy on the Roaring Moon EX, but he didn't. He did get 15 in the discard, so he still missed by a very little bit, but it does not matter. We want to start setting up our bench with some other cards, another Brambleghast. We wanted to go with another, what's his name? Dunsparce, but didn't really work that way. Since we were only just about to get behind, that triple energy will trigger, but I was thinking we should probably work on the other one, because once the triple energy is out of commission, it's going to be a problem. So we went with 5 energies, and we went with 6 energies on the one on the bench, so if we lose the Brambleghast with the Hero's Cape, we'll still have another big attacker. The wonderful thing about this deck that we're up against is that everything's weak to grass. Literally, we get 5 coin flips. 1 is worth 160 damage. 1 heads is worth 160 damage, and then 2 is 320. So, like, 800 is my maximum damage. What is the chances that I whiff every single time? Oh. Okay, I won't lie. I forgot that happened. Moving on. Was this one of the games that I won? I forgot. Okay, well, let's continue forward then. I could have sworn that... When did that happen? So a reminder for everyone, I shoot these videos and I hold on to them for like days, and then I go to edit them and I put them all together really quick, and I sometimes don't go over everything. So I hit an Iono to set my opponent to 4. I did it twice? Maybe that's why I used this one in the recording. Okay. What is the chances of getting heads or tails on a coin flip? 50%? No, maybe 10. Apparently. That didn't work. So apparently I let my opponent take a Brambleghast down, and I left myself with a single Brambleghast that has 250 HP with an opponent's board that doesn't look that great. Assuming I was going to lose the Brambleghast again, I guess I set myself up for failure. Not so sure. I definitely feel like what I should have done here was probably bossed up that... Oh, now I hit. Jesus Christ, I only needed 1 that time. Probably should have used the counter catcher that I had to bring up the Roaring Moon EX in order to take that out. Maybe I didn't because of the Squawk ability, and I was trying to use counter catcher to bring that up. Or bring up the Moon. It does look like he was able to set everything up. I feel as though the move here would have been to use Frenzied Gouging, and then he didn't. And he used Calamity Storm to not knock me out, so now I have a lot of time. I have all 4 Ultra Balls in my hand, so that was cool. Just to set up my second Brambleghast. Capturing Aroma could get me a basic, which I probably should have gone for to try and get... Oh, I did go for it. And I didn't get it. Okay, it doesn't matter. I guess I go for Dunsparce, use Ultra Ball to get rid of both Ultra Balls. Man. This is why you don't... You practice before setting up decks. Jesus Christ. Necessary 800 damage, by the way. That could have done 920 damage, I think. No, 960 damage. That would be cool. God, what was the damage counters at the damage mount at the end of this match? All right, my opponent was able to get that. I don't think he's got any hand left or any deck left, showing that he only has 7. Okay, well, this does not make that big of a difference. The only problem being is that now that I am ahead, the triple energy only counts as a singular energy. So now I'm trying to find out what can I do here. I don't have any switch cards in the deck, I don't think. Again, if you guys need to see the deck list, it is down below. And I'm just thinking, where do I go from here? Sure, but I don't know what that's gonna do, and I didn't want to lose out on an energy, so I was like, I guess energy to Brambleghast and sit down for a minute? Yeah, we just go with Dunsparce. If our opponent brings it up, it's a free retreat. Doesn't matter. If they take it out, again, it doesn't matter. It just gives me more health. We used it anyway. I don't know if they had anything, but we wanted to try and rotate. We have a Super Rod. We checked our discard pile for anything that might have been useful. Really wasn't anything there. And I don't really know what he was looking for. He's got 3 cards left. He has a switch card, great. But where does he find the remaining energy he needs in order to not lose? So I believe that I did do the most optimal play. He had 3 cards left. I don't think he had anything left to really get me with. I believe my turn, since I have 4 energies on the bench Brambleghast, I push the energy here, thinking he can't knock me out regardless. Triple energy retreat pushes the Brambleghast forward, and then we go Super Rod to get our energies and such back. Yep, there we go. We research out, there we go, and we find a whole bunch of energies we can't use. We get rid of his thing, and then we go for it. If this doesn't get the KO, then obviously I'm able to still set things up, but I think that 2 heads would have been enough. Yeah, 2 heads would have been enough to get the knockout there, so I think I put that video in. I'm glad that I won. I honestly did not remember. I put that video in because I got heads 1 out of 5 twice in a row, which is why, like, the deck has got, like, 50% win rate. It either will hit and it will knock out everything in the game with, like, 3 energies, or it will hit nothing. Also, I don't know if anyone else is counting, but I feel like there's a lot of attacks that do, like, 60 times coin flip, or like I think I thought of like Lightning Rondo or whatever being an even number that was like that only ended in 260, and then I was like confused, like how is it doing so much damage, and then remembering that it's not 20 or 60, it's 80 times a coin flip in heads, and 80 is a lot of damage. 3 heads and it's 240. Yeah, my opponent is playing a Palkia and Blastoise line. I believe my opponent was trying to get a Palkia V-Star out as quickly as possible, and was unfortunately not blessed by the power of Pokemon to find the Palkia V-Star they were loping for. We did this time use research, and we were able to get the double Dunsparce, and we were able to get double Brambleghast. Like, all of our Pokemon are already set up. It's just I assume my opponent was going to take a knockout. When they didn't, it causes a few problems. We were trying to mill out our deck as much as possible to try and find Pineco's evolution, to try and get some energies up. We hit the Dudunsparce, go for it again. We drew 6 cards and researched to 7. And we also even got more cards out of the deck with Artazon, and we just whiffed continuously. We set ourselves up for the next turn. If our opponent took out a Dunsparce, we would not be upset, but we also have Iono, we still have Pokemon gear, and energy. So we're able to set ourselves up. We have everything set up for it, but there was a potential that we could have knocked out Palkia before it became an issue, and we just did not get there. So we do see where we go from here. My opponent has used Irida again, along with the Earthen Vessel, getting more energies. And of course, my opponent knows that he can use concealed cards, he can use the Palkia ability. This seemed a little weird to me, but he went for it to try and get those knockouts, so he went with the V-Star power Mondo early. Takes a knockout. So we push up our Dunsparce. We now have a Ultra Ball, so we guarantee getting what we need here, so we throw away some extra pieces. Yes, they're useful pieces, but I figured I have Super Rod, I have already have a trainer in my hand, so I don't really need another Pokemon gear right now. I take every energy I can out of my deck and set up both of my Brambleghast, so that way they're ready to go. And again, we need 4 heads, I guess. That's the hard part, is we need 4 heads to get our knockouts here. So since I did blow myself up, you see my opponent is at 3 prizes now, because they already took out Dunsparce from the prior turn. So I'm going to set my opponent's hand to 3 with Blastoise, where they need energy and they need their hand set up. It is a bit of a problem. We push up our Brambleghast because looking at the board, they can only do, I believe it was 220 damage or something along those lines with Palkia. So we cannot get a knockout on 250 HP Brambleghast. We already have our Brambleghast set up, so we're just going to go with Dunsparce, draw 3 more cards. The reason I use the rainbow cards is to signify that I have only one copy of it in the deck. It helps me remember. It's just something I thought of to try and remember, like, because I do run 3-4 copies. So based upon the different rarity allows me to remember how many of what I have. We did get that 4 and 2, so we hit that 320 super easy and took out Palkia. I was trying to find out what I went for, flipped 6 coins, landed 4 on heads, and I was like, oh, I did do that, huh? Neat. So, Blastoise, unfortunately, you have to discard water energies from your hand in order for it to work. So if he discards 2, he knocks out Brambleghast, he takes another prize, he's at 2 prizes left. I'm at 300 HP, and now his Blastoise can no longer, you know, harm me. And funny enough, I was able to put another triple energy down, and he's less than 3 prizes, so I'm trying to think, where do I go from here? I probably should have put down the Bramblin and then hit Roxanne, so I can get Dunsparce to get me my 3 draws. If he knocks out one Brambleghast, I have the other one. So I'm just looking through my deck with the Capturing Aroma, just looking for an evolution. We failed twice. Honestly, after hitting both fails, the Ultra Ball would have just been a better option. Wasn't worried about it. We go for the attack. We were so close. We missed because of his shell for minus 30, and we missed because it was just 10 damage off. Leaving that at 40 HP was but again, for him to attack and even do damage, he needs to discard 1 energy 140 and 2 energies 280, so he was not getting a knockout no matter what he did here. He does do his absolute best in order to find everything that he needs. He whiffs an Ultra Ball. I assume his barrel was prized, and he wasn't able to go any farther because he couldn't find the energy, and he hard concedes. I go into another match right afterwards, and the reason it's in the video is probably because it was a good match. So, do we coin flip and go first? Oh man, we go first every time. We're so good at the game. Until we open Dunsparce, and very little. I think I was reeling by like why. I was like, great, Dunsparce. I guess Capturing Aroma 50% gets me a basic so I don't just lose on turn 1. Great. My opponent needs some time to think about what he's done. We take our free extra Iono that doesn't change much, and my opponent starts a Ditto. Okay. Capturing Aroma into Tails. Good. That's what we needed. Tails gets us our basic. We throw without getting Pineco, so we want Pineco on the board at least. We Ultra Ball, get rid of our extra stuff. Literally, I think the same cards we got last time. And we do want Bramblin. Bramblin will give us our setup because we have the Pineco and we have the Bramblin, so we can set up one very large Brambleghast early game, which is nice. We also have our Dunsparce as well, so we're able to go with the proper order sequencing with Forretress, Trigger, Explosion, and then Iono, and then ruin our opponent's day. Our opponent was able to go Ditto into Chien-Pao, by the way. That was a unique little tech right there. Sets up a very sturdy board here. Oh, I remember what happened in this. Our opponent chooses a weird option here with this Iono, and I think it costs him. Yeah, he went Rare Candy Frigivax. So, obviously he couldn't evolve right there, and I knew he had Rare Candy in his hand. He wanted to go double Frigivax in case I had some weird maneuver, which is fair. Oh no, I still fucked this up. Okay, cool. Man, I'm never gonna learn. I even used the Dunsparce where I should have retreated. Go me. Oh no, wait, was I trying to get the other Brambleghast? I don't... Jesus. There's a lot going on, all right? I have the Orlando Regionals coming up, and I have been practicing with everything under the sun, and I wanted to make sure you guys got a video before I left. So, we hit the Forretress after Iono. I don't know why. We only go with the 3 energies because we already have 3 energies on the Brambleghast. So, well, we already have the 1 energy on the Brambleghast, so we don't want to go overboard with our energies because obviously Chien-Pao is a problem, and we already have flipping for 6. Bam, bam, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 2 for the 320 damage. We only needed 3. Just saying. 80 damage when you coin flip is a lot of damage. You wouldn't think it's much more than the Ambipom list where you're only flipping for 60s, but 80 means so much. 1 coin flip is 20 more damage, 2 coin flips, 40 more damage. That's quite a bit. And obviously 3 coin flips, and that's 240, and that is a big number with Vs and EXs that are basics. Obviously, we tied it up with the knockout of the Chien-Pao. Our opponent's trying to go off, trying to find things. He bloody Pokemon stops. That was an Irida, a Babarrel, and a not Arctibax. What's his name? Baxcalibur. Earthen Vessel, he gets more energy, which he chooses not to find, and I believe he just hard concedes right there because he could not find it. Nope. I do remember he hard concedes. I'm sorry. I spoiled the ending there. He nest balls and just rips. He goes, that throws away another Babarrel and a Baxcalibur to show me he has those things. Industrious Insiders draws more. Hard concedes when he can't find it. Think he was looking for a rare candy, never found one after all of that drawing and hard work. And we go into our final game against the V-Star Warrior. My opponent failed the coin flip because they got the pick. Fails the coin flip, I get hit. I get the pick, I go first. This deck, I do believe, has a much higher percent chance win chance if it goes first because setup is kind of big, but it's still like not terrible to go second because if they take a prize, all it does is set up your triple energies. So obviously they can't attack on one. You go, you can just do your setup play and your opponent gets to go. If they take a one prize knockout, depending on what it is, you're usually able to set up 2 of anything on turn 1 so you don't lose any of your real parts of the deck, and it's very unlikely your opponent uses a boss's orders to bring up the important things, right? If they take up Pineco, it's like, okay, use the boss's orders on a Pineco. It's not like I can't stall a turn and get another Pineco and evolve it and deal with it that way. It does have issues with Greninja, obviously, because like the Pinecos, the Dunsparce, all of them have 100 HP when they or more when they evolve, but they don't have nearly as much before then. So although I didn't have any issues where I needed a Manaphy, usually I would evolve everything on the same turn or let everything explode beforehand and only leave one Dunsparce on the board by the end of most turns. So if they tried to use Greninja, it wouldn't matter too much. So I didn't feel like it was all that necessary. And a reminder, this is TrickyGym's deck. I did take it, I played it, I liked it a lot, and I will be bringing it into a couple of events. If you guys want to see me and using Brambleghast in tournament, check me out on twitch.tv/videogamehouse. Every Thursday and Sunday, we do Pokemon tournaments, sponsored by the Bun Sniper with the Blue Ditto events and the Varieties 08, who is the sponsor for the Redacted Forces tournament. So, like I said before, we're going in with a single Dunsparce, and we don't need any more. We want to set up everything. We give our opponent the value here. Using the Forretress and the active to use its effect, get all the energies out of my deck beforehand. I only go with a couple because I, again, only have one Bramblin on the board. I don't want to waste my energies. With the second Pineco that I had, I could have put energies on Pineco so I can have a second attacking Pokemon, which, with this matchup, would have been a good idea. Because everything is weak to grass, but again, we were more focusing on how to use this deck. We gave our opponent 2 prizes, they get a whole bunch of stuff, and we finally get the combination that we're looking for. We just need to find... we didn't get it, Ultra Ball. Hero Cape Bramblin plus the Ultra Ball. We don't really need a lot of stuff anymore, so we're just gonna go get our Brambleghast. And this is like a very healthy, like, small Brambleghast at 350 HP, because they've only taken 2 prize cards. So we only need 2 coins, and that takes a free knockout on the moon. This guy is different from the first guy. I thought he was going to frenzied gouging me in game 1, which would have cost, which I still would have been able to have an out. In this game, I would not have had an out, so I used the counter catcher, bring up his Roaring Moon EX, which is the only thing that can one-shot a Brambleghast with his deck list that already had an energy, and I figured, you know, get rid of this now, better position. We take a knockout, we move on. Again, for him to knock 300 damage into a Brambleghast with the Roaring Moon basic, he needs 23 ancient cards in the discard pile, which is almost impossible. I do take into account the fact that Brambleghast takes 140 damage here. Not great. So we need to make sure we have another Bramblin set up, so our next turn we can get another Brambleghast to cover losing this Brambleghast. Because it's very easy for him to get 1 energy on that Roaring Moon with Vitality, or just getting a Dark Patch, or whatever he needs. So we just need to take a knockout. He does have... That was 100%, by the way. Unnecessary 640 damage. I needed 2 coin flips on that. We take the 2 coin flips. Super effective knockout. Good feeling. If it wasn't for the grass type weakness, I definitely feel as though a Lost Vacuum or 2 could have been fine in here. But the multiple hand disruptions, the hand disruption that teams up with the fact that you use Forretress, excuse me, the combination with the Hero's Cape and the higher HP Brambleghast, it just felt so good and so much fun to play the game. I like having a little bit of a gambling idea when it comes to the game, because you just flip a bunch of coins and you're like, I'm Brambleghast, flip coins, I also hit 600 damage, and it feels so good. As the title of TrickyGym's video, Brambillion damage, and it's true to its name. We're just setting up for the future plays. We still actually have 4 prize cards that our opponent can take, so we actually could potentially go with using our Forretress again to have our opponent take 2 more prize cards to get even more energies out. This is just more of like, we needed to make sure we had enough energy to do that. My opponent tried to devolve me because he didn't find an energy, forgetting that Hero's Cape is still triggered, so my Bramblin actually had 140 HP of damage and 150 HP normally. I was able to just re-evolve everything, take a knockout here, and we just moved forward. I wanted to use Forretress so bad, but I also didn't want to have my opponent have that vitality of like boss up, like take out the Bramblin, and then if like I failed a coin flip, I would have just lost the game potentially. So we didn't want to use too much negative value on it. But it wasn't too bad. Like, if I really thought ahead, yes, I could have used Forretress. It would have been off the board. I would have had 2 prizes left. My Brambleghast would be at 400 HP, and it would have been very unlikely my opponent does 260 damage with the deck that he has. So it might have been a smarter move, but at the same time, we wanted to go all out on this last one so we don't fail the coin flip. Again, we need 2 heads. We play a regular energy. We actually use the Forretress to get our extra energy, because if we hit here, we actually still win. And if we don't hit, we still have the ability to switch into the other Brambleghast, which we'll be able to still coin flip 4 times because we still have another energy in our hand. Luckily, we do hit the 2 heads, and apparently it meant something, because I think the last coin flip wasn't extra heads. And we take our win. Well, I will admit, TrickyGym's Brambleghast deck was a lot of fun to play, and I will be bringing it into a couple events just to see how it stacks up into current meta. I almost can guarantee it wins against Charizard almost every time, Roaring Moon almost every single time. It can beat Chien-Pao, as you guys saw in the video, but I feel as though if that guy got a little bit luckier, or I drew a little bit worse, it was definitely possible. Chien-Pao has kind of an edge on it because it's able to take those knockouts even at 300, 400 HP. They're still able to get rid of all those energies and just dumpster them really quickly. So definitely possible. But I highly suggest giving it a shot. And obviously going over to TrickyGym's channel to go check out the video and how he ran it. Maybe you'll learn something there. Maybe you learned something from my video, and I hope you did. If you guys got other video or combo ideas with Brambleghast, hit me up in the description below. You can find my Discord, or you can add write out in the chat below what you guys think could be changed from the deck to make it a little bit more consistent, a little bit better. I figured it was already pretty consistent as it was, so let me know your words on the deck. If you liked it, like the video. If you haven't already, subscribe. Take a look at the other videos from the new Temporal Forces cards. I hope to see you guys back here on our next video. Good night.